Now, last week, for those who were not with us, show 200 of the Rob and Caleb show, we talked about the Sabbath, right? And we talked about, we were answering questions on that were sent to us about, can the Sabbath be any day? Could I celebrate the Sabbath on, say, Sunday, like most Christians would say that they do, right? Give me just 1 second. I need to cough here. Sorry about that. Okay. And so the question, that was the question that came in. And Thomas writes on our page, he says, does the 6 days you shall work hold the same onus? I guess and then actually I responded to that, but I'm going to now read his second comment too, because I think they kind of go hand in hand. He says, I guess my concern is interacting with the text this way goes as far as rest, Sabbath, and work can be contextually applied. If the seventh day rest is not just a definitive command, but also an eternal covenant without exception, then the equally directive 6 days of work isn't merely being busy. It is associated with the toil of plowing and harvest. Okay. Now, the response that I gave to the first question that he had posed was, and I'll just read that again because it's very short. Does the 6 days you shall work hold the same onus? My answer to that is yes, absolutely it does. 6 days you shall work. Now, the question is...
Well, literally, it's 6 days you shall do all your work.
Interesting. I hadn't got that.
Well, I'm kind of jumping in on your point.
No. Please, go for it.
My point is that, my understanding is that there's one day that is to be distinctly set apart from the others.
Right.
And there are all sorts of tasks pertaining to our livelihood, which, as he rightly pointed out, have to do with manual labor or, all the different, whatever kind of labor we're engaged in to have a livelihood, to be able to pay bills and have food on the table and shelter. I think that those are just part of being in the world, and they need to be done. So God's saying those things need to be done. But there's one day where it is set apart, and we're remembering that we are not of this world. We're of the kingdom, right? We're his children, and that's our highest priority, and we need to have that healthy time, that builds us up and helps us be strong lights in the world during those other 6 days. So what I'm wondering, do you hear him asking, does it say thou shalt work 6 days in a row? In other words, thou shalt work every day for 6 days. Is that kind of what he's saying?
I think that's what he's getting at, yes.
Okay. I've thought about that.
It's a decent question.
In other words, what if I get all my work done in 4 days?
Can I take 2 days off?
Can I take 2 days off, then have the Shabbat? It sounds like he's trying to get to that kind of...
Yeah, and then the question would be, what about vacation? Am I allowed to take 2 weeks off in the year and sit on the beach if I so choose? Which I don't think I've ever done, but could I do that? Not be sinning? So to me, I think your point is actually very well taken in that it says, now give it to me again. In 6 days, all your work shall be done, right? Like do all your work within 6 days.
Honestly, I don't have it in front of me here. I can look it up here.
See, for me,
and we're gonna have to. I mean, if we were gonna do this, right, we'd look at all the texts. We'd bring them all. But if we should go to Exodus 20, for example.
The other thing is that for me, so I work at TorahResource. I work a 5-day work week, right? And I take 1 day. I take this Sabbath off, and then my family has Sunday. Well, on Shabbat, we don't spend any money. We don't go. We don't go to restaurants.
It's not a family. It's right. Exactly.
It's not a family day. It's God's
not a family
day.
Outing kind of day. Yeah.
Right. On Sundays, however, we usually take the day off. I take the day off, and I'll do work around the house, or we'll go somewhere fun with the family, or whatever. To me, that's some of that can be considered work. But it says in Isaiah, if you correct me, I'm going to paraphrase. It says, if you'll put away your own pleasures and enjoy the Sabbath. Right? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So what does it mean to put away your own pleasures? Anyway, go ahead with Exodus.
No, I just pulled them up just to kind of refresh my mind here. Exodus 20 and Deuteronomy 5, they're worded pretty much the same. In terms of the 6 days, you shall do all your work. So the question, it seems like what this means is it don't do, and then the contrast, don't do work on the Shabbat. So the point, I think we would all agree that the point is the Shabbat is to be set apart.
Don't miss any clips from Messiah Matters by clicking the subscribe button. Also, give this video a thumbs up and share it so other people can see it too.